This week on Big Eyes, we discuss whether or not Fujimoto is top 3 in manga right now and some unbelievable moves in the power rankings. Stay tuned. Episode 107. Let's get it.
The Big Eyes Podcast.
Welcome back, episode 107 of the Big Eyes Podcast. As always, it's AD and LJ back at it again. What's going on, man?
Oh man, welcome to another. Hey, low key, this was like the greatest weekend ever of anime.
Talk about it.
We got Spy Family, and we got Spy Family and Aoashi, bro. Come on now, I don't want to hear nothing about Titan Sundays again ever. We here, bro.
We got
it's
one more
real.
season.
It's real Anya Hive, bro.
It is
real Anya Hive hours is happening.
Stand up, man. It's been a long time coming.
Come on, man. Real IO hours, bro. Like, come on, man. It's real footy hours. It's real spy hours. Come on. I don't want to hear nothing about a Titan ever again.
We got next year.
I don't want to hear nothing about a rumbling unless it's my tummy, homie. Like, no, we not talking about Titans no more. Unless it's Teen Titans. Shout out to Exit Band, man.
Yeah.
But bro, listen, the greatest weekend ever of anime. We finally here, Spy Family. We prayed for times like this. We prayed for them. We stood strong. We stood 10 toes down for Anya. We've been riding with Endo, even though sometimes he likes to take very long breaks.
Weathered the storm. Had to sit on the block the whole time.
Come on, man. Y'all weren't there for them 28 days you were waiting for chapters. Y'all weren't there.
Shit, it's happening now. It's still happening now.
Yet we still here. 10 toes,
Come
bro.
on, man. Come on,
man.
Listen.
Real confidential files, man. Come on.
Listen. The work touchdown. You got to get them off. You got to go complete the mission. And that's what we doing here in these Spy Family hours, man. Long
real
mission.
Spy Family hours, bro. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
How you feel about that first episode, man?
Oh man, it was beautiful. It was perfect.
It was the best.
It was absolutely. There's not a single bad thing I could say about it
at all. Niggas are in for a treat, dog. And when y'all get finished with the anime, when y'all get finished with that first episode, y'all know who to tap into.
Man, listen, y'all need to go tap in. Y'all need to go tap in, man. My boy Die returns. The hackers thought they could. The hackers thought they could take down real Dragon Quest hours too, bro. Die returns too. Come on, man. Let's go. This is the most excited I've been for anime in a very long time. I can't lie.
Same, man. We're back on track. You know, we had our COVID time, but we have weathered the storm, and now we are here.
Weathered the storm. We're here, bro. Anime of the year, Spy Family.
I don't know, man.
See, listen, it's right now it's between Spy Family and Aoashi, bro.
Ranking the Kings. I gotta give it Ranking the Kings too, man.
This year? Oh yeah, Ranking the Kings is good, really good. I don't know if it's gonna be better than Spy Family, but it's good.
It's all of them are in there.
Oh yeah, they're all gonna be in a conversation.
Listen,
Boji Def might win Best Boy this year.
Yeah, man.
Nah, man. Listen, I told you we prayed for times like this. We are finally here. I'm super excited. I'm super happy. Greatest weekend ever of anime. But Anime Talks is for the lookout. You already know why we're here. We're here to talk manga.
Yes, sir. I do got one quick news segment before we get into the meat and potatoes of what really came out this year, and that is Jump Plus. They got some new serializations, and I think the only big headlines from this is the serializations have Bubble, which is a new Netflix movie that's coming out. It has the artist from Death Note behind it. And also Kazusa Inoka, who was the mangaka of ITLC, is coming back with something. So that's the only thing I got for y'all this year. Like,
Nice.
yeah, quick, clean. You know, I'm happy to see that he's in something else. Like he ain't let the ITLC stuff get him down. He's back at it again.
Nah, yeah, that's tight. Cool. I'm happy to see more stuff, and hopefully it lasts longer, it runs longer.
Yes, sir.
So, but all right, we're about to get into rankings, but first,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we really have to talk about the genius.
The absolute mastermind that is taking the
Could
manga world by storm.
could we potentially say that right now, currently, right now,
As in alive or like running?
alive,
Okay. Okay. Finish the statement.
top 3, top
Oh,
5?
I'll say top five. I will say top five.
He has a. I think the work that this man has put in for the last about 2 years. If we're talking one shots, we're talking serialized or an actual running manga. He has a very strong case
He has
of
he has a very strong case for
he
top
has a
three.
very strong case for top 3 right now.
I'm giving him top five because I still got
I
to.
think top 5 for sure.
Yeah, top five for sure.
Top 5 is a for sure.
But
I think top 3 is a strong argument.
yeah, top three is a strong argument. The only reason, like, you got to think about Araki, Toriyama in a sense, and Oda. Those for me are like three of the
He's
best. But
If we're really talking about the things that he's been putting out,
yeah,
definitely he has definitely outdone Toriyama. Like he's outdone Tori. You're an Oda fan, so I'm not even gonna get into that argument with you. So I understand there's a certain bias.
here's the thing about Toriyama though, because like he did help out with the creation of Dragon Quest. So like that's another thing for him that I'm like, all right, there's a lot more
That, I
to.
mean, and and the man that we are currently talking about,
If y'all couldn't tell, is Tatsuki Fujimoto.
who released a 200-page one shot. When we first heard like, yo, he's releasing a 200-page one shot, we're all kind of just like, man, dang, that's a lot of pages. Like
Yeah,
that's a lot.
yeah,
And then you read it and you understand the story and you understand the twists and turns and all the things that come with it.
hmm
And I truly, I like this man's mind it just works different.
yeah, and it's crazy how you can see like if you pay attention to like some of his works, a lot of them use similar elements from each other or similar themes because you can tell that he's a fan of movies. Like he is a fan of action movies down to the T. Like and with this new work, Goodbye Eri, you kind of get that sense in there as well. But you also see the type of storytelling that he has wanted to tell for the longest time, but just has I think he has a way with how he wants to tell his stories because the first thing that when I first read Goodbye Eri and like the direction that it was trying to go, it reminded me of Fire Punch and in how the premise of Goodbye Eri is a boy is filming his mother's last days because she has like a terminal illness and she wants him to like film it and make a good movie out of it. So he films like her ending or whatever, and it comes to the time where she is in the hospital and she's about to pass away. So he's filming all of the moments up to that point, and his dad is like, "Yo, we got to go into the hospital," and he decides to run away. And then the movie that he's filming for class that he wants to show about his mother ends in like a giant explosion. And at first you're like, well, "What the fuck?" Like Fujimoto, you on that shit again, man? Like, what are you doing here? But as you follow the story with the kid and how he lays it out for what the events are to come. It's like really, really touching and really is a solid piece of work. I wouldn't mind seeing this as a movie. Like if this gets released, I would not mind seeing it as a standalone movie, and I might go see it twice, three times.
No, I completely agree with you. I think that the way that he wrote this, like you wouldn't never have thought like the point of view that he writes it from. Um First of all, he has a way of like being real and like tapped in with the times. I think that's one special quality about this is that this very much feels like something that could happen today.
Yeah,
Like if it like the setting feels very today, especially when you're talking about like recording movies on phones and um and that what and how essentially how he just places the characters like I don't know like it's like his mind works so differently
yeah,
like I could like how he's writing and the stories that he's telling is so different from everything else going on that every time he drops something it oddly feels like a breath of fresh air
yeah. And I
like it's so and it feels weird and you're kind of just like and sometimes it could be a tad bit unsettling you're kind of like man this like you said like the premise of it all of it is very morbid it's sad especially as you go along with the story I think one of the best parts is how um the best part is obviously like you said the he is this boy is making a video or he starts off making a movie about his mom and showing his mom's like final days because she wanted him to and you can see the lens that he portrays his mom through the movie but and as you go along through the story and he talks to his dad and his dad shows him the footage of his mom's final moments and final words you kind of tell that wow the mom that we saw in the movie isn't the mom that we thought she was
yeah, but he depicted
and
her
I
in
like
such a
how you
great way.
yeah, and I love the way that like how many different viewpoints you kind of get.
Yeah,
Like I like the story is told from the boy's kind of point of view at moments, but also you see it from, it's like you're watching it through your own eyes.
yeah. It's like when the camera stops for him. Also, you actually get to get that come up for air moment and see the other perspectives of other characters as well, like with the dad and Ari, who we when her introduction came about, I was really surprised because the boy he got ragged on for his movie for the ending of the explosion and everything, and everybody started to bully him. So he ended up recording himself making like a suicide will or whatever, and he was about to jump off the top of a hospital that I think is that was the same hospital his mom died at. And as he's about to hop off, this girl with black hair stands right next to him and she pulls him over and is like, hey, you shouldn't do that. I saw your movie, but you know, I saw the promise, but it's really trash. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to this abandoned room and we're gonna watch a whole bunch of movies until you get the idea of what a movie is supposed to be like. And I really enjoyed that part of the story because like it she comes out of nowhere. I'm not gonna hold you. She comes out of nowhere, but then we start to see like the kind of person that she is, and the way that Fujimoto tells the story, in that he is kind of writing the end to but not only his movie, like in a different way, but also the end to this story. And it happens in such a fantastic way, in my opinion, that he ties the beginning up well with the end, and he's able to shoot for all of the things that he wanted to within this one story. It's like it's so perfect how he was able to tie the beginning and the end with Eri together like that.
And also I love the parallels between Ari and his own mom and it
Hmm.
brings up a big thing of not like a lesson, I guess you can say, but
It's like a redemption in a way.
it's not even a redemption. It's like I love that kind of the fact that I mean, and it's also real when you even think about your own relationships. Of you, even when you see a bad qualities in a person,
Hmm.
and sometimes people aren't always the best. You always view them from a different light than everybody else.
Yeah,
Especially when you have like love for them, or especially when you have a real relationship with them.
yeah,
Even though what I'm saying, so like even when he's shooting this movie on once again at the end, where we figure out that Aries dying too,
yeah,
and at the end after she dies, he's talking to one of her only other friends, and she's like, she was, she could be a bitch, she could be this, she could be that, but she was like, I love how you portrayed her,
Yeah,
and like you see the contrast of like, what I'm saying, like even the the
the
the
dad.
dad even feeling the same that way of just like your mom was abusive, your mom was this, your mom was
Hmm.
neglected, and all this, and like she'll get mad, but I love at the end how at the end like you still portrayed her as this woman that was this and that and like that, and so it's like once again you're getting so many different viewpoints from on these characters, and they just come out at different moments. I don't know, man. Fujimoto is just, and for 200 pages, this was a
It
breeze.
was. It was definitely a breeze. I know we was talking about like I know for a fact. I said I was probably gonna read like 20 pages a day. Nah, I play it. I read
I
like
read it all at once, man.
all at once,
Damn near
and I
cried.
think that's the best part about what Fujimoto does because a lot of it is like repeat paneling, but he's doing it in like kind of like a flip book type of thing where the paneling is repeating, but it slowly takes you along to where the story is gradually approaching to. Even when we
It
had like the black bars at the end for like the blackout period, you know what I'm saying? Like that was still something kind of impactful in that moment.
it was. He does a great way of like he doesn't have to use too much dialogue to tell the story.
Yeah,
Like if you really think about as much dialogue as there wasn't like they were going on these long form rants and these long form like no. Like there were 2-3 pages at a time where it would just be characters and you'd just be sitting there, but like the ways that like each panel invoked a different emotion. You could really feel it
yeah,
because how he will set up the scene, how he will set up the dialogue between the characters. It's not like it was so much being said, but it was enough being said to where the next few panels you're like, oh, like you could still get that emotion. You could still get that feeling that he was trying to portray.
yeah,
He didn't have to over explain. He didn't have to overdo anything. It was very simple, but it was very raw and it was very like real. It felt like, and so he was still able to get these points and these emotions and these, I think the things that he was trying to tell across because he was able to be so raw and like with these characters. And once again, it's kind of tapped into like really how like people are. Like,
yeah.
man, when you're sad or when you're upset, like you don't want to talk that much. You don't want, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
once again, I just Fujimoto is something special, and
Yeah,
I think that she truly has a argument of being one of the best, if not the best, mangaka right now.
yeah. I want to agree with you. Like he's definitely in the conversation after being in the game for only so long. Like he's really taking everything by storm with everything that he's writing. I think this is a good build up for leading into Chainsaw Man Part Two. I think we have something great ahead of ourselves, man. Like I really can't wait to see what type of direction he takes that.
Chainsaw Man 2 coming soon.
Yeah, man.
We got a couple more months.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. It,
Summer 2022.
that's summer is gonna be really crazy, man. I really can't wait to see. What do you think will be the highest ranking thing that we talk about going into the summer?
Chainsaw Man 2.
Like,
Going into the summer or by the end of summer?
well, by the end of summer.
Chainsaw Man 2.
I don't want to say that. Like, we got to get it in our hands, but
Depending on when it drops, if it's like late summer, then I obviously I don't feel like it'll be fair to give it to it if it comes out in like August
yeah,
or
yeah,
like very late July. But if it comes out mid June, early July, I got high hopes for it. I think Chainsaw Man 2 would definitely will be running the power rankings.
yeah. The one thing that I don't want to do is like, we rank it high, like just off the strength of it being Chainsaw Man. But then because he only gives us like 20 pages and the story doesn't move that far along, that we'll give it a ranking just because. That's the one thing that I don't want to see. I want to see,
We'll be fair. I think I think we are very fair with our
yeah,
rankings.
oh yeah, definitely,
Then speaking of, it's now time for the rankings of this week, the Big Eyes Power Rankings
yeah.
for
But
the weekend of 410.
yeah, yes sir,
420 coming soon.
definitely.
Um so this week's official rankings, Big Eyes Power Rankings. coming in first. And the yearly and shout out to them.
Yep, first
One
year
year
anniversary.
anniversary. First year anniversary. Blue Box is coming in at number 1. Number 2, Yozakura.
A new one, a new entry.
A new entry alert. Yozakura. Number 3, Ashiman. And we got to spend some time talking about Ashiman for a second
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they have been running the rankings. They've been very consistent, very very consistent. Something we got to talk about. Number 4, Akane. So this is where things got a little. This things got heated in the conversation
Yeah,
of where things
yeah,
belong. But
yeah.
number 4, Akane. Number 5, MHA. Number 6,
A
Dandadan.
new one.
A new one, new entry alert. Number 7, Sakamoto Days. And number 8, Undead Unluck.
Mm,
So
mm,
obviously we can start off with the number 1. Blue Box getting that number 1 ranking. I felt this is one of their best chapters yet. One of them in the entire series.
yeah, it was a really good chapter. It was a solid start to a new semester for these kids, man. Like,
I think that the fact that now we have there's a lot of things that I really enjoyed about this chapter. First of all, I like the fact that they have now acknowledged that Taki and Chi have now finally really moved on from that awkwardness.
mm-hmm.
I think that I think after the hotel, after kind of everything they've been through, after kind of everything that Taki has, kind of been going through, I think it's nice, it's nice that they're moving on past that. We're moving on past the whole them trying to be awkward with each other, and that we've grown past that, and it's nice to see them like reflect that in the story.
Yeah, definitely. But not only just that, but we also have the moments with, Hina being involved, and we're kind of seeing like the next steps of that because we see Kyo's reaction when he asks Hina about her confessing to Taiki and that whole situation, man.
Man, I'm telling you, bro, watch out for this man. You got to look at this snake look in his face, man. Look at the snake look that he got on his face. He's not a real friend. He's trying to undercut him. Like he's like jealous. I don't understand what is up with him and like what
you,
there's an underlying thing of jealousy with him. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it.
I mean, he is a little salty. I'm not gonna hold you to that because you can see it on his face. But I think it's
He
also
gets
it's
no babes. No babes. He's babeless.
and that's kind of why he's salty because Taiki got 2 of them and he ain't got no play, and he really cares about Hina, man, because they all grew up together. So that whole triangle that's about to become this blue box, you know what I'm saying, is about to go into a different direction.
I don't even think it's gonna be a love triangle. I think that I enjoy. I like. Oddly enough, Hina is very mature about this situation. She's like, I know that he still likes Chi. I know that they're still living together, but I'm not gonna deny the fact that I
Here's
like Taki too.
here's the thing though. I'm calling it a box now, like blue box, in the sense that like now Kyo is about to get involved because he got feelings for Hina. So who knows where that could throw into that, you know? But that's why this chapter is so good with it, man. That's one of the reasons why this chapter is so good. The other reason is because at the end of the chapter, Chi's mom's comes home and she wants her to move back in. So she's about to move out of Taiki's house.
For a little bit, it's a temporary thing. A
Mm,
temporary move. She said she's only gonna be there for like a month or so because
yeah,
her grandpa fell.
yeah, yeah.
My man had to hit the life alert button. I have fallen and I can't get up. You had to hit that life alert. Yeah, man, my man. Hey, low key, how would he fall in like Japanese houses be having like no stairs?
Now they do have some stairs, like Taiki
They
did.
got like 2.
But here's the other
Oh yeah,
thing.
you know, damn, Taki does have an
Yeah,
upstairs.
yeah.
But why is her grandpa living in the stair like in a home with
Here's
stairs?
the other thing. How did the grandpa fall and she ain't get the call first because she's already there?
I'm telling you, hit the life alert, bro. He had to call
I'm
911.
just saying, like you would think that
I know the mama is
she
probably on
probably the
the
emergency contact.
well, he probably on the mama insurance, so you know he probably the emergency contact.
Yeah.
Imagine calling the high schooler you failed.
I
She ain't
mean,
answering. How's she even gonna get there?
for
She
the
gotta take the
granddad,
bus.
like the granddad,
She gotta take the bus to get
I'm
there.
saying
She ain't got no will.
she could
She
definitely,
gotta run.
if Taiki's parents is really
She gotta
cool with
take the
their
light
family like
rail.
that, man, you would think that they would be like, nah,
Bro,
let's go ASAP.
I'm not calling nobody that gotta take the MTA to come help me out, bro. If you gotta take public transportation to come like help me if I'm in like a life or death situation, like I'm sorry, you're
Man,
not gonna be my emergency my emergency contact gotta have a car.
I'm just saying.
That is
I'm just saying. I'm just
I'm
saying.
saying, bro. The emergency contact gotta have a car. Like that's
I'm just saying. It's weird that she had to find out through her mom and not like getting the phone call. Like
yeah. What was
she
listen?
literally had to wait for her mom to come home.
I mean, her mom would probably paying the insurance. I mean, I'm not. I would too. I don't know. I get it though. I get it what you're saying. Like she was closer.
Yeah.
Like no one felt like the need to even shoot her a text like, hey, pop
Cause you even
failed.
see on her face like she kind of shook up right now. Like as Taiki walks through the door, you kind of see on her face like what the hell is going on as her mom explains. But then it's like that shock factor that comes in at the end. It's like, ooh shit, like
Yeah, but to be honest, what really made this chapter number one and what really put it over the top is that moment where Taki and Chi are in the classroom together. And, obviously it's the start of a new semester. And once again, it goes into them tying away and breaking away from this awkwardness. But, them kind of, like this moment between them in the classroom and acting like they're in the same class together. And like this very sweet moment and very like, heartwarming moment between them where they know. And I love the art in it too, in the panels where they start kind of drawing the ghost characters or like they were in the class together. Um, him pretending that he would be in sleep in the back of class and like cheating on her test. Like all like I love that role play scene. I think that right there is really what set this chapter above any other chapters
yeah,
because how much they leaned into it and just how they really put us in that feeling. Like it felt like for that moment, like those two were like really getting lost in the moment. You get lost in that moment with them.
yeah, and it kind of feels like that's one of those last little moments that they'll get to see each other in the space that's personal for them. Because them moving out now is like going to throw a bigger wrench into things because they won't get to see each other as often. Now he'll really only have time to see her at like either school or like while they're having practice. And when you have someone like Hina who just sees you just as much, if not more, because y'all are in the same grade, like what does that do for that relationship? What does that do for Kyo who sees that Hina is gravitating more to Taiki in this moment? You know what I'm saying? Like what all could really happen within this next month that Chi is living with her mother? So I really can't wait to see where the story for Blue Box goes, man. Like, this is about to get real spicy.
All right, yeah. It's in a very good spot.
Yeah,
So getting back to our rankings, our new one, Yozakura,
yeah,
definitely deserves a number 2 spot.
yeah. That,
That final chapter, with the older brother running away, them finding him, and him coming back, and he's poisoned, and
yeah,
that moment between him and Tayo, it's all too poetic.
yeah. Like we don't get a chance to talk about Yozakura family too often, but because of the dynamic of the family, I really think. First of all, if you haven't read it, go read it. It's a really good story. Like it feels like it's going towards its final arc in a way. Because we had the whole mission with their dad and everything. And in the last few chapters, we have been seeing some of the previous heads of the Yozakura family and stuff that's going on with them because they're being revived. It's kind of like the Hokages being revived in Naruto, where it's like, what's going on? They're supposed to be dead. How are they doing this? And it all has to do with something with their father being manipulative. Because in this chapter, we find out that Kyo, the older brother, has been inflicted with this deadly poison. So he honestly ran away so that he wouldn't infect everyone else. And you know that you have Taiki here, not Taiki, shit, Tayo, that's what it is.
Tayo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Um, we have Tayo here, who from the very beginning he was weak. He got married into the family. Like we find out all of his backstory with his family and how it ties into the Yozakura family, and we know from the beginning that the older brother has always disliked him because he's marrying his sister, who he finds the door like the most precious thing in the world. He has that older brother complex that you find in anime, but you kind of get some of his backstory in the recent chapters of why he feels that way, and why he's so protective of his sister and what he wants to do for her, like his family in general. And then you see Tayo have a flashback where it's like, I may want to kill you, but I will never let you die because you're a part of the family. And that's still one of the most powerful lines that I've seen in this series. Because when Tayo is having that flashback as he's about to lose to Kyo and he's about to run away again, he's able to break free of the strong netting or the strong wires that his brother is known for, and he's able to grab him and make him like turn around for a second. So like it's a really powerful moment, like in the context of the story. After for all the things that Tayo has been through, all the things that this older brother has put him through, and now it's this moment culminating to where he wants to help him. And yeah, man, it's a really impactful moment. I'm not gonna hold
It is, and I think that's the big reason why we put it at number 2 this week
you.
is
Yeah,
that moment alone, and obviously the story between the brother and Tayo, and how their relationship has progressed, and then we're ending up at this moment where you feel that Tayo feels that he has actually gained his respect.
yeah,
Like there's a true respect now, and they're really having this moment, and no matter what they have gone through throughout the series, is that he's really recognized as a member of the family.
yep.
And I think that this moment and where it puts the series, I do agree. I don't know where this series ends up after this, or where it's really at in terms of the entire arc, but this week's chapter was definitely worth the number 2 ranking. um the next two, Ayashimane and Akane, I think right now, have we seen a newer series be this consistent? Like these two have consistently been hitting the mark every week.
That's a good question. I'm not gonna hold you.
I mean,
That's a. I'm
and
thinking
like
back on
even
all
like
the new
and
series
even
that.
last week, even though that Akane was not on the power rankings last week, does not mean the chapter was bad. It was still it was a very solid chapter. It was a very very good chapter. It just didn't end up on the rankings last week,
Yep,
but this week, Ashimon and it like right now, obviously, when you begin a series, there's going to be a training arc coming somewhere,
yep.
and how these two have done this training arc thing has been absolutely like blissful.
Yeah, you have. We already had the Akane training arc where she's working at the bar, and now we're seeing the fruits of everything that she's learned by performing for the elderly. And all of her jokes are kind of being tailored towards, the things that they experience, like the whole thing about them like growing in age or whatever like that, and how to. It's a whole Japanese like backstory or side story for them, but the way that she's telling the story for them, it's like it all ties in for them, and they relate to it in a way because it's all about age. But then as she keeps repeating certain things because the joke still makes sense, but she's upping her tempo. She's like making it faster and faster and faster. It becomes this sort of joke where she's able to bring them up to speed to the type of jokes that she likes to tell. So it makes them like even burst out in more laughter. Like she took everything that she learned from the bar and cranked it in with her own style. And that's something
Yep,
that
and that's the best part.
yeah.
Is that she didn't lose herself within the training. And I
Yep.
think we sometimes see that in characters where they become so focused on what they're trying to learn that they go straight into like they don't ever like it takes a moment for them to ingrain the training into who they are as a, naturally.
Yep.
Her immediately off rip, she learned what she needed to do, applied it to her own natural skills, and even even her senpai goes, yo, like, hold on. Like, at first I thought she was doing it like this, but like, it's the opposite. Like, really, she's still playing her game. She's just getting, like, she uses what she was, uses her training to lure them into the trap.
She warmed them
And then
up for it.
she warmed them up, and then she gets into what she's doing. And so I believe, like, that is what made this chapter so special, because it was great to see the fact that she's still very true to her core.
Yeah.
regardless of the training. And I think that in Ayashimon, it's the different side of the same coin where this is our first time us really figuring out like his true powers.
Yeah.
Um and
We also get to see more of the Ayashimon world because he has to go to like this homeless camp, but the homeless camp is where both humans and Ayashimon can reside. So like we kind of get to see like a small subsection of that part as well. Um, we get that. We get this elder who is able to help him figure out what his power and latent power is and how to unlock his sort of chakra. It's not like the Naruto chakra. It's like the actual real chakra paths that's in your body type stuff. Um, but we are able to figure that out, and then they apply it to where it's a really simple concept where Ayashimon are powered by like money and thoughts. Anything that's worth something, like that's their power. Like they have to be applied to that way. So because Dopo's power is fire and he's fueled by money, Maruo just has to believe that he can punch out fire. So he has to understand the concept of fire and just destroy it from the inside out. It's a very simple concept, but it takes him a hard time to figure it out because he already knows that fire is hot. Like he's going through the training. He has to punch these like chestnuts out of the fire or they'll explode and hit him. And he's doing all of this body work, but he just can't figure it out. So he has to truly believe that he can punch out the fire itself. And we see through like some of the chapters where he has these inner flashbacks or monologue about him punching through a wall in his dream while he's reading manga because he's able to use manga to recuperate himself. But it comes to a point in the story where it's a burning building. He has to like go in and save a kid because the kid is going to burn up and die. But he runs in, he gets to the door that the kid is stuck behind, and he's able to punch a hole through the fire. Like the fire just ceases to exist. And when the kid goes to tell the police like what happened and how Kaido saved him, he's like, "Oh yeah, he just punched out the fire." But everybody's not going to believe it, that from the kid that he punched out the fire. So they're just like, "All right, we got to do some investigating, but we appreciate the help and assistance." You know what I'm saying? But it's a really good way to like bring about what's really going on with Kaido, what's going on with all of his abilities, how Ayashimon kind of function, and things of that nature, man. Like both of these training arcs in themselves have been really good in fleshing out who these people are as characters, like main characters, and how their influence can affect the world.
Definitely. And once again, two training arcs done, I feel, in two different styles, but in very, very effective ways. And especially how they've been telling the story, they've just been consistently like keeping you so invested into it and
Yeah,
keeping you interested. I thoroughly enjoy it.
yeah,
Um, MHA makes the list this week. It was a good chapter. The Dobby thing. Hopefully this finally puts the rest of Dobby thing. I think there was definitely some interesting things in there in terms of like how Dobby got revived and
yeah.
him potentially becoming a vessel for All for One.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that though, I don't think there was anything really hard hitting that was like, oh my gosh, like this is. But I think that you seeing the fact that he is the fact that you can see that he really sided with them for the simple fact that they were the only opposite side of his dad.
Yeah,
Like there was like he really has no loyalty to them either. It's just the fact that it's you know one of those things of the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
yeah. And you can see that
It's
from the beginning too.
Yeah, and I think that's just a big takeaway here. The fact that he was like burning and melting the All Might statue. Um, that was kind of a cool visual. Visually, is very pleasing. But outside of that, I don't think there was nothing more that was like super duper hard hitting.
Mm-hmm.
But it was. I mean, it was a fun chapter. We're about to see this kind of final battle. I love the fact that he kind of accepts the fact that this is going to, regardless of, this is going to be his final battle. Now, does Horikoshi actually pull the plug and kill him? Is the big question.
I think he's written them in such a way that he has a way out if he really truly wanted to save Dobby. He does have an out. However, all signs point to him actually dying. I don't think he would be happy in this world. I don't think he would be happy at all.
Yeah, I don't see him having a happy ending, and I hope that we don't get that for him.
Yeah,
And like, I don't mean that in like a negative way, but I, like you said, I just think
he's
his
a really
character is he
tragic.
doesn't.
He's a really tragic character.
He doesn't deserve a happy ending. He deserves a tragic ending because that's what he wants. That's what he's lived his life to. Is I want this. I want to see the world burn, and I want to like not just. He wants to see the world burn, and he wants to burn with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just like I just want to. I want to see the world. I want to see this pure chaos, and if I die creating it, that is perfectly fine by me.
Yeah,
Um, Dandadan and Sakamoto Days. Both of these two make the list this week. Both very good chapters. I think with Dandadan and Sakamoto Days, the two things that these mangas do very well is that they hit on the comedy amazingly.
yeah,
Um, even this week on the Sakamoto, I think Dandadan has done it greatly throughout its series.
yeah.
Uh, especially this chapter where we're getting the Exorcist. You get the heavy metal band that's doing this exorcism, and the reason why they can do this exorcism is because their spiritual levels are so low that no demon will want to possess them. I think that's a great reasoning behind it. And, as they go through this exorcism, as they attempt to say their friend, um
Niggas just
yeah,
enjoying the band, man. Like,
they're just enjoying the band. It's just fun. It's fun. I truly believe that when Donna gets animated, it will absolutely be popular. It will absolutely be popular amongst fans.
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets in that manga of the year nomination.
It definitely can. It definitely will be too. From the art style to the story that it's telling, I love the fact that it doesn't really take itself so serious. The stories feel they're very intertwined, but each chapter feels like its own. Like each chapter feels like its own standalone, like a
Yeah,
really good standalone chapter.
yeah,
Even though it's a continuous story, like each chapter is very strong, like within itself.
and it does have that like
Um,
Fujimoto pacing and paneling as well in some of the aspects.
yeah, definitely.
Um,
Um, with Sakamoto Days, we're getting Shin in a moment where uh you get Shin in a moment where he finally feels that he's becoming his own.
yeah,
He's obviously continuing to like try to work through this progress of uh getting out of like Sakamoto's shadow and like following his footsteps like step by step and
mm-hmm.
him kind of creating his own path. And we finally get that moment. But once again though, I think Sakamoto throughout the series has definitely gotten better of where they place the comedy.
Yeah,
Um, like the moment where one of the teammate during this game, he goes, he's figured out that he's super shy. Kaji's super shy, so he's like quiet and he's having all these thoughts, and he attempts to, and he attempts to touch what's the boy's name?
Mifuyu.
Yeah, before you, and he was like, "Get off of me! Like, don't touch me." No, it was just that great moment. Like once again, they're figuring out. You could tell that they're figuring out like where they're placing that comedy at and where it belongs and where it keeps the story pretty. It keeps the story running smoothly. I think before they would just be placing it in such random spots and you would just get thrown off a bit.
Yeah,
Like now you could tell that these little moments are placed in a way where it's like this is more like it's more fluid.
yeah. I think the best part for me is the ending with this nigga having a whole VR set on. This man is going crazy. Hey, what's the game from Striking Vipers? You know the shit from Black
Oh
Mirror.
god.
That's what this shit
Oh
is.
my gosh. Wow.
Minus the other stuff that happens.
Wow. We're on Striking Vipers time.
That's hey man, I'm not
Slat. Snake emoji.
Hey yo.
Nah, my man came through with the Oculus though.
He did.
And punched Shorty through a mountain.
Yeah, man, he's about to go crazy. He said, "I'm about to pretend like I'm playing Resident Evil." This man is about to go down.
Oh yeah, he's about to go crazy. He's completely locked in right now. Um, but no, that was another really strong chapter. Once again, I think Sakamoto Days is just it's found its footing.
Yeah,
I think Sakamoto Days found its footing, it's found its stride, and is just hitting a different level, which is really fun to read.
yeah.
Lastly, Undead Unluck, a strong chapter.
I enjoyed it.
I think I'm falling out of love with Undead Unluck. I'm not even gonna say I'm falling out. I think I've already fell out of it. I think that we're me and Undead Unluck are past the honeymoon phase.
That's sad to hear. I feel like it's trying to reach a very strong point in the story, and because we've been having this fight after the whole spring situation, we've had regulators appear to come course correct what's about to happen to Earth. And we got this unruined guy who's trying to become, God's disciple in a way. So we have him and a new Uma named Steel, who is he's a broken nigga. I'm not gonna hold you, like the way that his powers work is pretty good. I'm not gonna. I feel like Undead Unluck is in a place where it's trying to tell a new story arc, and it's just setting up those pieces for it. Like, yeah, man, I don't know. I feel like Under the Luck had a really strong chapter only because we had Rip come back. We had the guy who's been following
Oh yeah,
Andy.
we had Rip come back. We had old boy, and you got the little boy and his mom, and him kind of. I, I like the fact that this is the first time that little boy is like facing real evil. Like he's like facing like this is the first time in his life he's like really facing an evil human being.
But because it's not only that, like the little boy, he has this power of unhealthy. Like this man is just constantly sick. This nigga is always sneezing. He got COVID for 24/7, man. Like he can't get rid of it. But that power allows him because of the new Uma ghost that took Fuko away. It allows him to astral project and affect other things with his sickness, but he can't die from it. Like so, he's always able to control his spirit. So when Andy and him get sealed up inside of the new seal Uma, he's able to affect the core of the Uma, make him sick, and they just break out of him. I think the funny part is the fact that like because of the boy, he liked reading Peter Pan, and he thought that he could become anything. So he actually became Peter Pan, and he imagined Andy to become Captain Hook, which is a cool thing. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of was like, all right, I see the vision. Like you're trying to have some fun with it. But yeah, man, I don't know. Undead Luck had a really strong chapter in my opinion. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I wanted to ask earlier. Because I wanted to ask it about Don in particular and Blue Box and Yozakura family. All of these have like some type of relationship aspect to them. Which one do you think handles the relationship aspect of their story the best?
You said between Don and what else?
Don, Blue Box, and Yozakura family, and Undead Luck. I guess you could throw in there.
Which one handles the relation like the romantic relationship the best?
Yes.
I got two answers.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yozakura handles it the best for the simple fact that it's already established that Tayo and Shorty are married.
Yeah.
So all they really have to focus on is them being married and supporting each other. I think the one that is most compelling is Blue Box because the way they handle the emotions and the way they handle like trying to be mature in a situation, not just juggling just your going full fledged your like going towards this relationship or just completely acting on feeling, but actually understand like there's a balance between going after it. I mean Blue Box does that age old questions like would like what you love and who you love.
Yeah.
Like, would you sacrifice what you love for who you love, or would you sacrifice, what I'm saying, who you love for what you love? And I think they do that balance very well between them. And I see with the situation with Chi and Hina and Taki, and now his punk ass homeboy that's coming in and
Mm-hmm.
being a hater. I think that their relationship story is much more compelling. Is more fun to read. But I think that Yosakura handle is the best for the simple fact that they already established that this is a relationship that's already secured in.
See, I see where you're coming from for both of those. So I that's it's a really good argument. I can understand why, and that's why I wanted to ask because I also feel that way about Don to Don in a way where it falls into the kind of trappings of somewhere in between Blue Box and Yozakura family because you kind of get to establish from the beginning that like he's the name of like her favorite actor or whatever, and she's always wanted a boyfriend. And so you see kind of the way that they interact with each other. They slowly build a relationship, especially when you find out like they like the opposite things, so they try to prove it to each other. And then you find out in their backstories that like he was always being bullied, so he always wanted to talk to aliens. She had a childhood crush who talked shit about her grandmother because she was a spirit medium. So they have these things to like kind of tie them together because somebody didn't make fun of them for these things, and they start to like build up on that. I feel like they do that a little bit better in a sense than Blue Box, but I like the tenseness of that from Blue Box in the same way because it's like, all right, so are you going to actually make the move? Like, we know that you like her. Are you going to actually make that move for real, for real? And it's the same with her. With Don to Don in the same way, it's like they already show that they kind of like each other. They're a little bit far along, but then they introduce the ex boyfriend aspect, but he's actually not a bad person. And then you also introduce another character who likes what's his name, Ken, in the same aspect, and their whole relationship. It's other things in Don and Don that I feel like it could also be in this argument. Um, I can't say anything about Undead Luck. It's kind of weird. I'm not gonna hold you like how their relationship starts off. Um, if it like I understand if people can't get into it because of how that starts off, but the direction that they take it flips it on its head so much that like you can kind of get past that just because of how much they go through things together. Like it's a different aspect to it. I just don't like the beginning of Undead Unluck's relationship aspect between it. It's kind of off putting.
Oh yeah, it very much is. Yeah, it's weird. It there's moments where it feels very forced. There's moments where you're very confused on like why did they just do all this?
Mm-hmm. But like once you get beyond that and see like the things that they actually have to go through in order to like even live and like try to see the end of the days because the world is supposed to be ending because of you know God in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Is other things that you have to worry about where that's kind of put to the backside, and the trials that they go through ahead of time kind of build their relationship so it doesn't feel as awkward later down the line. Like they've already been through these things. So like that's one thing I will say for the Undead Unluck's credit.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, so this is this week's though in rankings and power rankings and for the Big Eyes podcast. And thank you so much for listening. Make sure you obviously follow and subscribe to the Lookout RNC wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you follow us on Twitter and wherever other social media sites you love. Make sure you follow RNC Radio Live too, and make sure you subscribe to that and all the great things you're doing over there. AD, what's the sign
You
off?
already know. Please read more manga, watch more anime, and be on the lookout, only on the lookout for the Big Eyes podcast.